That's another video on the F1 channel, and today we are looking back at the first 4 races of the season. We are looking at whether the new regulations that were introduced to allow closer racing have helped the racing or not. So let's get straight into it. We're going to start off with the first race in Bahrain, and yeah, what a great race it was to start off the season. We obviously got that incredible battle v Leclerc v Verstappen, and yeah, for me that's probably the clearest indicator this season that we've seen that the new regulations have done a properly brilliant job. We saw multiple laps in a row, Leclerc and Verstappen going at it hammer and tong, with Verstappen coming past on the main straight and then Leclerc using the run and the slipstream and the DRS to get back past on the second mini straight, and we saw that multiple laps in a row. And yeah, I don't think we've seen that recently, where drivers for just laps and laps in a row could just constantly fight with each other. So for me, and yeah, we also saw some other good battling through the midfield like we always do in Bahrain. So for me, Bahrain was a huge success for what we saw in the new regulations, and yeah, definitely proved its point. And then if you look at other races as well, Saudi Arabia, yeah, I mean, like, it was another good race, I'd say. Yeah, I mean, like, there wasn't a lot happening, and then Latifi binned it, and all kind of went off after there when you had the Verstappen and Leclerc fight towards the end. And yeah, that was another example. Obviously, there was quite a lot of DRS involvement and all that. We saw Leclerc and Verstappen breaking that comical moment where they were going as slow as possible to avoid using the DRS. And yeah, you could kind of say that's been one where we can't really get to see, because it does feel like DRS with the new cars is more powerful than last year. We seem to be seeing a lot more powerful DRS cars coming charging past, etc, etc, with the help of DRS, which yeah, maybe I'd like to see it toned down a bit, because it does seem to be making some moves particularly easy, but you know, on the whole, the Saudi Arabia between Verstappen and Leclerc and throughout the whole field really, the Alpine battle was really great. So yeah, and then Verstappen and Leclerc, it was separated by like 6/10 or whatever it was. So, you know, that just kind of sums it up. That it was a really good race. We don't see F1 races decided by 6/10 at the front. But then, yeah, you could say, the other races, the most recent two, Australia and Imola. I mean, like, I know most people found Australia, like, pretty goddamn dull. I mean, like, Australia, for me, it was always one of my most hated tracks before the pandemic. I mean, like, it was kind of saved by the fact it was the first race, otherwise I think F1 fans would have a much dimmer opinion of it. And for me, missing out the 4th DRS zone really didn't help, because you could have got a really nice line overtaking through those fast corners and then on to the back straight, which could have helped overtaking. But you know, for me, it wasn't a terrible race. We got some decent battling between Perez and Russell, I seem to remember, and some other stuff as well. Bottas and Stroll, I mean, there was a bit of terrorism involved in that, but on the whole it was pretty good, I would say. So yeah, I mean, like, on the whole, I thought Australia, for what we normally get there, the track changes definitely worked, and you know, there was more action, partly because of the track changes, but I also have no doubt it was partly because of the car. But then, like, the last race, Imola, I mean, like, if you think about it, it was changeable conditions last time out, and yeah, it was kind of just a similar race to what we saw, I mean, like, probably even a worse race, to be honest, to what we saw last year in pretty much the exact same conditions. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah, the one thing I had a really big issue is, why wasn't the DRS activated until so late? That just made very little sense to me. I mean, like, it was clearly dry, and yeah, it just kind of hindered the action. But then even when the DRS was activated, you saw Hamilton at the back of the train with a much faster car, really, you probably have to say, and even he couldn't get past Gasly. I know it's partly down to the porpoising and the bouncing on the Mercedes, but still, he couldn't get past the car. So yeah, I mean, like, there really was a bit of a bummer for the new regulations, especially, and the sprint race the day before that, we saw a similar story with both the Mercedes, but then again, you did see the supremely fast cars, Ferrari and Red Bull, come charging through without any issues. So yeah, maybe it's just a Mercedes problem. But yeah, on the whole, you'd have to say the new regulations, they're not totally brilliant. They're not allowing for overtaking all the time, all over the shop. But I don't think we were expecting that. But on the whole, they have allowed for closer racing, which can last for a few laps. So yeah, I think on the whole, it's met the goal that F1 wanted with the new regulations. And I think it's been a success so far, and hopefully it will get better over the years and can lead to a phasing out of DRS. But that does still seem quite a while away. And yeah, even tighter racing. But on the whole, I'd say for the start of the new regulations, it's been a success. Anyway guys, that's the video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, no thoughts, comments down below, follow us to think, subscribe to me for daily wrestling news, and subscribe to my channel, scream on, I'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace!